it's starting, so I gotta pull it up on the computer. Cut myself off.
That would be very echoey.
Yeah.
It's like doing Zoom with this like two devices at the same time.
I know, and it doesn't work well. Oh, Stephen. Hi, Stephen. Stephen Davidson is here.
Hello.
Hey. Okay. I think I've got it up.
Okay.
All right. Hi. We are here Monday afternoon, and it was kind of an impromptu kind of Facebook Live because we had a ton of soap to cut, and I just needed to get it done. And we talked about how we cut some of the bigger slabs of soap, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to show you. And Jude was available, and he cuts the slabs of soap usually for me, so it worked out.
Yes, sir.
Well, we both do. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 slabs to cut, and we'll just kind of go through there. And hey, James, he's one of our seasonal scent crew people. I have fun with that. That's another thing. But so these are bath soaps. I should have clarified that. This is not shaving soap. This is bath soap, and we make the bath soap in 2 different ways, mainly. And I don't know if you can see it. This is our mold for like if we're doing just 1 log of bath soap, and we do that if we do 1 at a time, or we do these bigger slabs here. And so that's what we're going to cut. So the slabs get cut into logs, and the logs get chopped up. We're going to do that a different day. So, you want to start with this one?
Sure.
Okay. So this first one, and I have little notes on all of these about like when they were made and such like that. So they're best. Here. Sorry, we'll try the thing here. They're best to be cut within a couple of days of making them.
Like this?
Yeah. Trash. No, you can turn it.
Okay.
This one needs to be turned.
You got it.
You got it? Alright. Okay, so while he's getting that prepped, I'm just getting a tray ready to put the slabs on. Oh, you like the Fortitude. Good. Hi, Terry. Yeah, Fortitude is kind of a heavy scent, but I'm really surprised that it does so well year round, and it does. Oops, that's backwards. It does. I'm making a lot of noise here. Hang on a second. I gotta switch this around because there's writing on that side of the bag, and I don't want the writing to get on the soap. Okay, now we're set up. So yeah, this first one is Endurance. So this is a kind of like the classic, not the newer Old Spice, but the classic Old Spice scent is what this one scent is like. So go ahead, Jude. Sorry. So. All right.
I can. These logs.
Okay, so then we'll just put them over here. The 2 middle ones, and then the 2 outer ones have to go back through. Hold it while you get it back. The 2 outer ones go back through, and the edge gets like shaved off, and then we'll chop. You'll see in a minute. And this will be harder once it sits out and cures for a little bit. This is really interesting too. I don't know that I've shown this, the coloring
Yes, sir.
difference on this. So let me sidetrack for just a minute. You can see that this has like a darker rim. You need paper towels?
Yes,
Over here. It's got like a darker rim on the outside, and then it's light, and you can see it on here too. How it does it, and that's because of this particular fragrance, and also Fortitude does the same thing. I think those are the only two in our core line.
Yes, sir.
That do it. As it sits and gets exposed to air, it's going to change over time, and the whole thing is going to turn this darker shade. So that's kind of cool. You do like a time-lapse video or something if you're really patient and wanted to do it and show.
I got an extra phone.
If I had a what?
Extra camera.
An extra camera, an extra phone, right? Not willing to give mine up for that. So, anyway, so this is going to turn all darker, like the outside of this. Same here. This is the whole inside's going to turn darker, and then we'll let this sit for, I don't know. I'll probably chop when I chop these into bars. We'll chop this up into chunks too. Then these will cure out too, and these will become samples. The samples that we put in the orders and stuff like that. So that's one of the things we do with these ends there. So now this got that end chopped off. So now we're at the right size for this to just be a bar soap. Hey Diana, our old neighbor. I saw your new front porch. That looked pretty. I didn't see it in person. It's all on your pictures. Other side. It looks good. You guys are busy. Miss you all. And we got two of those, and then this. Okay. So, and Denise, hi. I tried with her this morning. Paper towels. Okay, I'm gonna switch out soap. So this one gets set aside for now until we get the other chopper thing out.
They need to cure a little bit too, don't they?
No, we could. Well, sometimes just because we're busy, we don't do it right away. We could do this right away. We could like take it straight from here to the other chopping soap cutter and cut into bars. But I want to get all these done first. So let's see. Got it over here. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Talking about Fortitude, we'll do that one up next. There. Just pull it from here. Got it.
This one doesn't matter which direction, right?
No, it does. Shift. There you go. I need to get another one because this one needs to be cleaned. Give me just a minute. Ooh, am I out?
Use the other trays?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll use the green ones. So much last week or so. I don't like out of the regular white trays, but that's okay. We got Cindy. Hi, Cindy. And David Brown. Hope you all had safe travels. I know you were out of town this past weekend. Stephen David said this liquid soap making video. I really seriously thought about doing that when I was making it this week, and I thought this would be kind of cool to video, but I was in a hurry. This is one of those cases of like the shoemaker's children don't have any shoes type thing. What's wrong? No, it's not the wrong one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
because we make liquid soap and we make like big amounts of liquid soap to keep on hand. I always have the supplies to do it, but I just didn't make time. So we've been out of liquid soap for like a month or so. Or so. We've been using other soap. We have bar soap and all that, but I don't know.
I prefer soap. Then I get the first.
Do you?
Yes, sir.
You don't like the liquid soap?
Not as much.
Why not?
I don't know, it's just, it doesn't feel as clean.
What is it looking? Is it girly or something?
I don't know.
No. I don't know. I'm just asking. I thought you liked it. The things you learn about on Facebook Live. I'm surprised. Well, good. Well, you haven't missed the liquid soap then, I suppose. Okay. Well, now we're gonna have liquid soap because I made the paste and then diluted it this morning and no fragrance it and blah blah blah. Next time I do it, I should do a video. Okay. So what do we have here?
This is 4 tubes?
Did you have the? Did I throw away the piece of paper?
You did. It's 4 tubes though.
Yeah, I see it. Okay, we'll write another. Oh, that was harder.
A little bit.
Okay,
Not too much.
so this is the same, this should give us the same deal with the inside color being different from the front, the top, the outside. It's just the oxygenation issues with that fragrance.
This one. Probably do it.
You got it? Okay, so let's put a spacer in to kind of shift the whole log over just a tad.
This looks like this.
If we ever lose it, we'll be in trouble.
And I can make another
I'll say, or you'll make me another one. And then, bink, there goes the edge. And you've got that same discoloration thing going on. And more samples. So, wipe off, and then I'm going to switch this out. Actually, I'll go around this way so I'm not tripping over cords. And what do you want to do next, Jude? Respect your vision.
Respect closer.
Okay. Oh, Stephen, have you? Yeah. Do you find you have more time, Stephen, since things are shut down? I don't. We spend so much time at home before, anyways, just because, with homeschool and a home business, we were at home a lot, anyways. So, our schedule got changed. Some, we're not going out, of course, but. Oh, you can slide that over for me?
Sure.
But I feel like I've got so many projects. I don't feel like we have a lot of extra time to do more. I don't know. Maybe I should have created more projects to do. All right, you got it?
Just turn the right way.
Yep. I got a little bit of soap on this one, so give me just a moment. Okay. Oh, the soap making supplies. I keep a pretty good stock. I try to ahead of my materials and such. So I haven't had to order a whole lot since this pandemic started. Fortunately, the couple things that I have had to order, I haven't really had problems with. I'm trying to think what it is I ordered recently. Some aloe and some fragrances, and they weren't hard for me to find. So yeah, I haven't run into that. I know other soap makers have had trouble with like the perfumer's alcohol for the aftershave splashes and stuff. But again, I've been fortunate that bought ahead on that, so right now I don't need any. So I haven't had that issue that I know some other makers have had. So again, I'm thankful for that. But and it may catch up. It may catch up to me when I do need to order supplies. I don't know if they'll still be running, behind. Some of the companies will be running behind or not. I'm not sure. But I've been fortunate. It hasn't held up production for us at all. Oh, I know the one thing that we had trouble with was the aftershave balm
Yes.
bottles. Our 4-ounce aftershave balm bottles are completely out of stock, like everywhere, for months. I have a stash, but it's getting low, so I'm a little iffy about how that's gonna work out. But it's not an urgent issue, so I'm not panicking, just concerned slightly. Okay, green. Oh, the green soap is Respect, which is a lime and patchouli mix, and it's one of my favorites. I love citruses. I like citrus fruit, period, like to eat, but I really love just the fresh crispness of citrus. So anytime we do a lime, grapefruit, I love grapefruit. Those kinds of scents are just, I don't know, just so clean and uplifting and vibrant to me. So this is one of my favorites, is the lime and patchouli mix. Yeah. Stephen, you know, because that's your personal favorite. Yep, it is. Very good. How long have we been making soap? I started when Ada will be 10 this summer. I started when she was a little over 1. So a little over 8 years, 8.5 years, I bet. Maybe almost 9, going on 9. So, 8.5 or 9 years. And I started with bath soap. This is an interesting thing. This is a side note. I'm distracted here because I'm looking at this. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not, but there's a swirl pattern. There's kind of an interesting swirl pattern through here, which this is a solid color soap. I didn't do two-tone colors in there, but just the way the soap, when it saponifies and the glycerin collects and stuff, you get a glycerin river type, that's what that's called, design. So anyways, that's what's happened here. So that's kind of cool. That looks like I did some fancy, swirling in there. I did, and I totally just poured it all into the slab. So that's kind of neat.
Nordwick knots and stuff.
The what?
Nordwick knots and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, well, it looks nice.
So,
You got it?
so.
But I think that's the fun part about cutting, even a solid color soap, you just don't know what you're gonna to get. I mean, you can kind of expect somewhat, but it's not even that is kind of surprise.
That's something. The banner we have up on the wall.
Yeah.
Has Respect on there.
I know. Do you know why?
Because it's your favorite.
Because it's my favorite. Yes, you're right. Got it.
So,
And yes, Stephen, my least favorite is Confidence. I do not like that scent. But there's enough people who do, so it stays. But it wasn't our core line, and it got relegated to a limited edition just because it didn't have great sales for us, and I just don't care for it. I don't know. To me, it smells kind of like Play-Doh.
I do not get Play-Doh.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
But people
know what it is, but-
pick up different scent notes.
So,
Anyways, there you go. That's my least favorite. What made me want to start making soap? Good question. Well, our oldest daughter, Ruth, is 16, and when she was little, she started having problems with her skin, just eczema, some pretty severe eczema. And as just an attempt to try to help, not cure it, but support her skin in a healthy way, I came across the idea of homemade soap, and in doing some research about it, realized you could make your own homemade soap. Like, you could go to the grocery store and get the ingredients to make a very simple homemade soap. And I was kind of fascinated at that. I was like, I disbelieving. I don't know if this is really going to work or not. So I did, and it was a straight olive oil soap. So the only oils I used was olive oil, and then I used the lion water. And that was it. Now, olive oil takes a long time to kind of come together. It gets to the point we call coming to trace before you can pour it into a mold. I didn't even have a stick blender at that point, so I did the entire thing by hand, which even takes a super long time. I don't even know. I probably stirred that thing for like an hour, not continuously, but stir for a long time, walk away from it, come back, and it still needed more stirring. It was a very long process, or it seemed like it at the time. So I got done, poured it into the mold, waited a couple days, anyways, I was like just completely fascinated with the fact that those couple ingredients made this really moisturizing soap. And so I thought, oh, okay, so I made olive oil soap. So what other kind of soaps can I make? And so I just started experimenting with it. And I think it does help Ruth's skin. She still has problems with eczema. She still has skin issues, and we've done all sorts of things. It's just something that we can't really get rid of. We just manage. And one of the ways that I help her manage that well is handmade soap. So that's kind of how it started. And then like I said, I just became fascinated with the process, and we had so much soap we started giving it away to friends for Christmas and neighbors, and they liked it, and they asked for more, and then it just kind of escalated from there. So that's kind of how we got started with it.
I don't remember like using like soap that's not ours, like other than homemade
Okay,
soap.
well, let's see. If I started, like 8.5, 9 years ago, how old were you?
Like
4.
4.
So you probably don't remember. And what 4-year-old really cares about soap? A 4-year-old boy really doesn't like soap that much usually.
Yes,
So you probably were not real interested in soaps. Okay, let me move this one out. And what do we have? What do you want to do next? Honor?
Save vision for last. It's the best.
Oh, but vision is a surprise as I messed up the color.
Oh.
So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
Why don't you grab honor?
Okay.
Your soaps are perfect for sensitive skin. And that's, Stephen, that's what I was kind of like shooting for when I was formulating. And of course, the olive oil is like a super mild soap. And hang on. Let me get this down first. It's a super mild soap, and it's like it's great. Like if you have sensitive skin, it's a 100% olive oil soap is like so mild and gentle. However, there's some drawbacks to it. One, it doesn't really like suds very good. So you're like soaping up and you're looking for bubbles and suds. You're not going to get very much with an olive oil soap. Plus, it has to cure for a long time. We're talking like a good olive oil soap to make it like good and hard and lasting and just good quality. You're curing it for over 6 months, which is just not realistic for a lot of soapers. And then thirdly, it tends to melt away faster. Like it doesn't hold its shape, even if you let it cure for a really long time. Once you start using it, it just kind of disintegrates, gets gooey quicker than other soaps. So I've made it in the past, and sometimes I used to keep some on hand, especially when her eczema was really flared up. We would just, I was like, no scent, no colorant, nothing, straight olive oil soap, just something really mild for the skin. But I haven't made it in a while. I've just been busy with other stuff. But that really is, and then a lot of people, if they're going to use handmade soap like for a baby, not for like a newborn, but once you start using a soap for a baby, an olive oil, 100% olive oil one is a good one to start with because it's just so nice and gentle on the skin. But, okay, let me go put this down.
I can probably get it by myself.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be there in case something happens.
So.
Not that I doubt you, but good to have a safety net. Plus, it's like an expensive mistake if you like topple it on the ground, you know.
Yes,
Wait, there's a piece on here. Okay. long have you made shaving products? Hi, Jaime. Texas. I'm sorry, I was distracted with thinking about Jaime in Texas. Shaving products. We started making shaving products about 7 years ago. Yeah, probably about 7. We worked on a shaving soap, and along with that, worked on formulating the aftershave balm, and which is really like a form of a lotion. It's just kind of like an offshoot of a lotion is what the balm is. So once I learned how to do lotions, just tweaked it to make it, work as like an aftershave type thing. Hey, Rebecca, how are you? Yes, I do have an awesome helper today. Mrs. Shemansky.
Hello.
Okay, so what do we have here?
This is honor.
Honor, right? On our little handy dandy cheat sheet. Now this one, huh?
This is handy dandy notebook.
You watched too much Blue's Clues when you were a toddler. This one, it does is not going to change color. This is what it is, and it pretty much stays like that.
This one seems a little softer.
Yeah. Well, I wrote down that I made it on the 24th, but I didn't.
Oh.
I made it Saturday.
Oh.
Well, that was the 25th.
Somewhere
Yeah.
on there.
So I have the wrong date on that page. But... Right. Do I ever buy soap? And why? Oh, well, that's funny, because actually I do. Well, rarely, but I actually do buy soap. We bought soap last year for history course. I mean, one of our art projects was carving soap. So ivory soap carves really well. So we did like a whole like carving, not day, but morning. I think we spent the whole morning like carving soap in here, and we experimented. We had our handmade soap, and we had ivory. Did we have something else?
We had another store-bought soap. It wasn't ivory.
Like Dial or something, I think, or something like that. So yeah, but I don't buy soap from this. I don't like buy soap from like a big box store type thing. I will buy other artisans soap, like other handmade soap from other artisans. I like that. And I think it's just because it feels a little different because it's a different recipe, and I don't know, it's like one of those things like when you cook at home all the time, it's kind of nice to go out once in a while and, enjoy a meal without having cleanup. And so that's kind of, to me, that's like the equivalent of using another artisan's soap is, yeah, I'm still eating, I'm going to eat at home or I'm going to eat out. I'm still going to use a soap, whether it's mine or somebody else's, but it's just kind of nice to experience it from somebody else that you didn't do the work for or whatever once in a while. And it's a treat. It's a different scent. It's a different feel. It's just something out of the ordinary. So that's kind of nice. And
I can bring that one over and put it in that place.
okay, I'm being directed by my 13-year-old.
I said you can.
You can,
Not
without permission. Where are you going to put this one? Are you bringing that one over? Okay. Oh, and your first time watching us. Okay, well, good. I have your the motivation soap is sitting right over there to the side. You can't see it on camera, but it's over there. All right. Is this our last slab?
It's a
Huh. Okay, so this one is this one's gonna be a pain to get out. Cause
I know how to do it. You get it in the trash bag, you put it on top, flip it.
yeah. Or we could put another tray. No? What do you think?
We could use another tray, so I was going to use a trash bag.
Okay,
We
you
just
gonna try it that way?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I ended up putting this it's on a different, my system got messed up because it's so, I don't know what happened, I think I ran out of I don't know, I did something different when I was unmolding it, and, so I didn't do my normal system, so we're not able to like pick it up and flip it the way we normally do. But apparently he has a solution for me. Kinda, maybe. Alright, good.
Got it.
Yep, got this. What are you doing?
Put it over there.
Okay. Oh, you have soup all over your belt.
I
Sorry.
can fix it later.
Okay. Well, it's one of the hazards of being, you know, in the soap shop. You get soap on you. Easy to clean up though. Okay. I didn't coordinate this well beforehand. Let's see. So normally our Vision soap is like a nice blue, and this time it turned gray. I used a different colorant for blue. Someone had given me some colorants, and I thought, okay, well, I'll just use up that other blue colorant. And some colorants hold better than others, and this one turned grayish. I mean, I like the color gray.
I don't mind it.
You what?
I don't mind it.
Oh, they said you don't like it.
Oh no.
I'm like, fine, don't buy it. This, anyways, the blue is not this vibe, you know, like a really kind of calming, pretty blue that I'm used to seeing. It's just it kind of turned grayish, but the soap is obviously all the same. It's just a little bit of a different color. In my oils, the oils that we're using already have like a yellow tone to them, like because we use a lot of olive oil in there, and the shea butter and such. So the oils themselves already have a yellowish hue, and then you put a blue, and sometimes the blue just kind of, doesn't hold real nice and bright to it. So this is one of those. It's a little more dull looking, or neutral, or serene. It actually reminds me of Serenity a bit. Anyways. Okay. And this one shouldn't change color either. It's gonna stay this color. Oh, sorry. I'm not paying attention. Okay, let me scroll here for a second. Oh, wrong one. I just ordered Vision along with a couple of thank you. Well, a lot of people do enjoy the Vision. It's been around for a while. It's one we've had for a while. So
What's our first scent?
I don't know that we had a first.
Okay.
No. And when we started making a bunch of scents.
Yes, sir.
We actually made a lot more than we even have now. We've kind of scaled back. So, you got it?
So,
Stephen Davis's all-time favorite is Vision. And yeah, Susan, the face soap. I actually checked it for let's see, a friend of mine asked about the face soap this morning, and there's two things about that. One, paper towels. What did I do? I have another roll.
yes, sir.
Here. So I checked on the facial soap this morning. It's nice and hard. It's like cured out well. So I'm thinking I'll probably have that ready by the weekend. That'll be ready to do. And but I had so many people contact me about it. I was like, oh, I don't want to run out. And plus, I don't make it that often. So what day was it? Saturday? I think it was Saturday. I made another batch. And I made two more logs worth of the facial. So we got plenty. We'll have plenty for a long time. And it's like my favorite too. So I wanted a stash for myself too. So yeah, so we got plenty of that, and it's like a couple days. By the end of the week, we'll have that ready. Oh yeah, for Purpose to come back. We haven't done Purpose in a long time. I don't know. Again, that's another one. I don't really care for the smell of it. I don't dislike it necessarily, but to me it smells like root beer or soda or something. And I'm not a soda drinker, so I don't know what it is. There's something in there's some fragrance component that just it doesn't really. I don't know. It smells like soda-ish to me. But a lot of people like it, so I thought, okay, well, we'll do it again and see how it goes and see what people think. Of course, I'm saying all this, I'm telling you all my negative, not negative, but my ulterior interpretations of these smells. So I hope you don't automatically smell it the way that I smell it. Maybe you'll like it, so don't be predisposed to dislike it. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have shared my opinion before you had a chance to smell it yourself, but it's just honest. You have a 6-year-old, Stephen Davidson, you have a 6-year-old Puckavision that still has a coloring in it. Yeah, that's right. Because when we first started making the shaving soaps, we colored the actual tub of shaving soap to match the whole line, all the Vision items, the bath soap and the shaving soap and all were blue, and Confidence was yellow, and so everything was kind of color coordinated with that. And then we decided, oh, you know what, maybe people don't want coloring in there, and it's an extra step that we don't need to take, and so we stopped doing the colorant. And not many people really noticed one way or another, so we figured it wasn't a big deal. We never brought the idea of the colorant for shaving soap back in, except for a seasonal scent crew. When I send out testers to the seasonal scent crews, I color those shaving soaps so that they can differentiate. We can talk about they will send in their vote and they say, okay, well, I'm voting for the orange one, or I'm voting for the purple one, or whichever one is their favorite. It's just an easy way to identify instead of 1, 2, 3. They could be using the little sample of shaving soap and know that, okay, well, that's the yellow one or whatever, and that's my favorite. It's yellow, or that type of thing. So anyway, so I do color for that, and when I make those little samples for the testers, for them, I have leftover batter, and I put that in a, where are they at?
Okay.
Oh yeah, bring one of those over. Some of those. So I pour the extra shaving soap into no, the shaving soap, sweetie.
Oh.
I pour the extra into the tub, so these tubs are colored, but only because it's like the leftover batch, not leftover, but the extra from making the testers to send out to our seasonal scent crew.
Which one's that?
Green.
Oh, I like pink.
Okay. Anyways, okay. So, how long does it take to cure before I can cut it up into separate pieces? Well, these I actually. No, we've been on here for a while. I don't know. My phone battery was a little bit low, so if we just die, it's because of my phone. I hope it won't die, but it may. If we wanted to keep going and had more time on this, we just switch out cutters. This slab cutter, put that away, and we could take these and use the cutter that cuts it into bars. And so I could do that today. I probably won't, but we could do that today. And then they sit on these trays for at least 3 to 4 weeks till once they're in the individual bars, and those individual bars sit for 3 to 4 weeks to let all the moisture cure out, make the soap nice and hard, mild, and so it'll last longer for you, feel more gentle, be a better product once. So about a month from now. Okay, so that's really about it for, let's put this on here, for today. So our next step is to chop these guys into bars, and probably do that tomorrow. But anyways, so thank you. I'm looking around making sure I didn't miss a slab of soap. Did we do them all?
Sure.
We did them all. Okay, good. So I have all these to cut into bars, and then we also have Motivation that I made recently, 2 more batches of facial soap to cut into bars, and a new one that I don't have a name for. Honeysuckle and white patchouli is the scent on that, and it's really nice, but I don't know what to name it. So we'll talk about that probably next video. Be thinking of names for me, because I don't like coming up with names. Stephen Davidson is looking forward to seeing Purpose again too. Yes, so I'll have to look at my chart. I don't know when Purpose is supposed to come back. I think it's the fall. I had it all planned out, but I didn't memorize the chart, so I can't remember when it is. But I think it's the fall, because it's kind of like more of a fall scent. But anyways, thank you all for being here. If you have any questions, shoot them to us. I appreciate you watching and supporting us and spending your time with us this afternoon. So thank you, and I hope you have a good afternoon. I'm going to go stop the video while Jude entertains you or something.
Well,
No? Okay,
bye.
that's right.